DeSoto State Park is the nature park in the state park system, and we have a great deal of things for the outdoorsmen to do. The park is actually divided into three different areas. The DeSoto Falls area, which is what we call the park proper, where the developed facilities are, and then Little River Canyon. To sort of go through it in an orderly way, if you go up to DeSoto Falls, we have picnicking, there's some limited hiking. If you bring your boat, you can go boating above the dam up there. There's a lake that's about 2 miles long. And along that lake, depending on what time of year you come, there's, for instance, in May, the third weekend in May will be the Rhododendron Festival. And we'll have, well, we won't have, but there will be boat rides offered from the DeSoto Falls area. And you can go up the river there with rhododendron and mountain laurel and all the wildflowers along the banks. And that's real pretty. And then in the fall, they do the fall color tours the same way. And there's a picnic area there and bathhouses, so it's a favorite place for a lot of people. A lot of folks come there, don't even come to the rest of the park. And when you come on down into the main part of the park here, we have a good picnic area. We have 3 pavilions where you can have a family reunion or a small business gathering or just a family get-together. It also has a play field, some tennis courts and things like that. And you can check out sports equipment from the country store. We don't charge for it, just make it available to our guests. During the season, we have an Olympic-sized pool. We also have about 8 miles of hiking trails in this area. And those trails run anywhere from up on the mountainsides and the hilltops down to right along the West Fork of Little River. So you can get a diversity of the terrain. You can find all sorts of wildflowers, especially in the spring, but we also have a lot of fall wildflowers in those areas. We have the 78 site campground. It's one of the best in the state park system. The sites are large and they have privacy between the sites. We have good clean bathhouses with plenty of good hot water for showers. And there's some hiking trails that go through the campground area. And we also have some sports equipment that can be taken up there, horseshoes and things like that for the folks who want to spend some time with those activities in the campground. We have a wilderness camping area. It doesn't have specific sites, just a large wooded area on one of the highest points in the park, and you register for that and just find you a place you like and pitch your tent in there. And, you get access to the bathhouses down below in the regular campground, so you still get your warm showers, and you just can't get up and walk to the bathhouse. You have to drive down there. We have some pit toilets in the area that you can use in the wilderness area itself. Then we have our country store and nature center. We have a very good interpretive program that will offer weekend programs Friday night and Saturday night during the summer. In May, we have 2 weekends already set aside. First 2 weekends in May, we'll have Wildflower Saturdays, where there'll be special wildflower hikes. And we'll have some experts in to lead those hikes, to take people and show them the diversity of wildflowers that we have and a lot of the other features of the park. We're fortunate to have DeSoto Falls, probably one of the most beautiful falls that you find anywhere, and probably one of the most visited. That's up near Mentone. It's about 104 feet is the height that we use and tell folks how high that waterfall is. Now, most of the year there'll be some water in there. Sometimes in the dry season it gets down and running just a trickle. We don't have much control over that because we don't open the gate on the dam or anything to provide water for it. But most of the year it's very pretty in there. Down at the Highway 35 bridge is what we call the beginning of Little River Canyon. We have Little River Falls, which is about 200 feet wide and about 60 feet high. Now that's another very pretty falls. It's more accessible at the top than some of our waterfalls. You can get right down at the top of it and walk around the edge, and when the water's down, you can picnic down right at water level at the top of it. And there's also a lot of swimming that's done down at the lower area. What I like most about those areas is the peace and tranquility that you find in there. The waterfall is beautiful, but the sound of it sort of closes out all the sounds of the highway and everything else you might be going through or you might be listening to. And it really makes you feel like you've gotten away from civilization when you get back in there.
Talmadge, this is probably the best time of year to come out here and visit the park, isn't it, with everything in full bloom? This is one of the best times. We've already had a full campground one time this year. And usually that happens a little bit later in the year. But this year, with the warm springtime, we have the wildflowers coming out. With dogwoods are blooming about 3 weeks
earlier than they usually do. There's just an abundance of wildflowers here, probably more than any other park. We're up here on the foothills of the Appalachians, the Cumberland Plateau, and we have a lot of plants here that you usually find in North Carolina or someplace like that, plus the ones you'd usually find here. So there's a great diversity of wildflowers, and that's one of the biggest attractions this time of year, and that'll continue through probably through May. They bloom, at different times, and it's a really beautiful time. This is probably one of the busiest times we'll have until fall when the color comes out.
And she had this big pile of this stuff, she couldn't move it out right, and she was dropping it. I was like, you just dropped 15. And some people will call them dwarf iris, but actually a dwarf iris is something different. This is the crested iris. Both of them are short like this though. You can see by the size of my finger how short that is.
Growing up on a farm, we've always been outside. My brothers and I, would play outside and go horseback riding, and did a little bit of camping when I was growing up, but I really got interested in wildflowers and going on extended hikes once I got into college. And what I would do is really every weekend where it was real good weather, I would go out and see what was blooming that time of the year and kind of keep a log of it and then go back the next year and see if the same things were coming up in the same areas.
The Greek word for milk, because the flower is a white color, and rotundifolia because the flower the leaf is round on that. A lot of people will
We have one who knew a lot about the plant life, who when we went hiking made it really interesting by telling us about the plants that we were seeing, and others who just kind of enjoy getting outside. And everybody's been camping in different places and with different groups, so we all brought something interesting into this group. I think it was a great group, and I think the diversity really makes it interesting. Everybody enjoys something a little bit different.
I got involved with camping and hiking when I was younger. I went to an outdoors camp where we learned to camp and hike on North Georgia Appalachian trails. And ever since then I've been doing it. I go at least about once a month hiking, camping. I'm into rock climbing and rappelling. And it's fun just to come out and set up a tent, sit around the campfire, hike along the trails, see the scenery. I love photography. I'm still experimenting right now. I did a lot of color photography this week, and I took some people shots of the waterfalls that we've seen, shots along the trees, some of the regular just camping shots of people around the campfire, some water shots, some trees, the colors changing with the leaves.
Well, I probably started camping a few years ago with some friends. We would go out and just kind of relax and have some fun. Squeeze the lemon juice all over.
You were the chef out here this weekend. You did all the cooking. Talk to me about how you got involved with all the different aspects of outdoor cooking and all the little tricks.
Well, since I cook for a living, that's my interest. I just think it's really fascinating. You boil water in paper cups and cook bacon on top of coffee cans. It's sort of like a game, and I use all my cooking toys, and I enjoy it. So that's sort of how I got interested in all these little tricks.
Do Southern living, and I do the travel stories. So, and I've been occasionally do things on camping, hiking, fishing, things outside, and so it does connect in with what I do.
It actually gives you a little bit of advantage over knowing what's going on, because you've actually experienced what it is what you're writing and what you're putting together in the magazine.
Yeah, it gives me a better feel for it because I've actually done it rather than just reading about it.
Oh, it's been great up here. The forest is beautiful. We've got to see some magnificent things. Everything in nature is blooming right now. The redbuds are coming out. The dogwoods are standing out everywhere you look. You see dogwood blooming. Went up to the falls, got to see several of the different falls. In fact, we hiked to a fall this morning and got to look at it. And it's really, just nature is really coming out. You can hear the birds all through the skies. And in the morning I get up and I took an early morning hike and heard some turkeys out in the distance. And it's really been nice. It's really a beautiful area up here.
It's a beautiful park. The waterfalls are wonderful. The canyons are beautiful. It's kind of hidden up here. I mean, I drive on Alabama 35, so I go over you know, one fall and kind of get a glimpse of it. But once you're inside, and it's kind of a hidden treasure. I'm sure the people up here, you know, kind of like that aspect of it, that it's kind of tucked away, and it's really beautiful. And I'm looking forward to getting out and doing some more hiking and exploring around here and seeing what else is there. But the falls, the land, it's clean, it's wonderful, and it's just been a wonderful experience.